across the Christmas break, you know, are they warmed up? What does that look like? Were different people away on holidays? Who had the most chance to scrim? Things like that.
Well, Mindfreak definitely improved throughout the season, and they were a hard-working team, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them come out here and really throw everything at Order today. But they're up against a roster full of 6 players that made it through to the season finals last season. I don't think it's possible for Mindfreak, but let's see what they can do.
Well, it's up to them to do it, Jordan. It does not matter what we think. Order up against Mindfreak. The winner through to the semi-finals. The loser, unfortunately, is out of this season. And Lasky going a little bit low, healed back up for now. But they're going to try and push through onto the point. Order at least have the point on their side of the wall, as D.Va is picked up as well, and the rest of Mindfreak will follow. They lasted a little while.
Yep. It was very nice from Mindfreak. I liked what they were doing. I liked what they were trying to do, but Order just showing their mechanical advantage over Mindfreak. They get that very, very slight advantage, getting the D.Va D-Mech. D.Va goes down straight away. The floodgates then open for Mindfreak. It really was a war of attrition in that last fight, where both teams trying to keep their Reinhardts alive, trying to keep their D.Vas healthy, or trying to keep their Xayahs alive. It all comes down to those little micromanaged things, the Xayah bubbles, that kind of thing. And Order, unfortunately for Mindfreak, just a little bit better when it comes to those kinds of things. Mindfreak haven't done too poorly in that fight. It was a close one. They've built a lot of ultimates up, so they have a reasonable chance of retaking this point straight away. But they're going to need to get good use out of this Shadow. Yeah,
I guess the 2 places where Mindfreak are missing out is on that hole in 1. You just see the Graviton Surge come out from Order. Nice. Kuwix goes down straight away. And Kamsky's to follow. So Order's come through with this one. Gone pretty well. Mindfreak has used up the majority of their ultimates as well.
Yeah, and again, good stuff from Order. Just playing on the front foot. They're not allowing Mindfreak to utilize their ultimates first. Order throwing out the grab before Mindfreak can really get into position. That locks them all up, and then Lasky tries to respond with an Earth Shadow of his own. And to be fair, it was quite a good one, but then Quat straight away responding in kind. So Order just having enough tools in the shed to be able to deal with what Mindfreak was throwing at them. Yep. And again, that's going to result in another 20, 30, 40% on the board. Mindfreak starting to be put under pressure now by that percentage.
Mindfreak will have the sound barrier along with the hole in 1 coming up should they be able to get it in time, but Order has a lot of ultimates here to work with. It's going to be tough for Mindfreak to push onto the point. They're going to try and do that. Graviton Surge comes out. I think it actually did get Eden. Lasky going to get found as well. The sound barrier coming out just a little bit too late there from Fractured to keep the Reinhardt alive. Goop's going to pop the trans. Self-destruct comes through, finds 2, and that'll be that.
That will be that indeed. Very, very close stuff for Mindfreak, at least trying to make that first fight work. But once that first fight sort of fell by the wayside, that was the close fight. And then Order kind of just steamrolled the rest with those advantages, with those ultimates that they were able to build up a little bit quicker than what Mindfreak was able to do. You saw Quats get a couple of Earth Shatters down in there where Lasky didn't really have that opportunity. Jordation always on the front foot with the Graviton Surges as well. It didn't really seem like Mindfreak had the answer to any of what Order was throwing at them. So hopefully for Mindfreak, they're going to be able to reset here into this second round and try to start off well, because that's so important on these control maps. If you can start off well, if you can get that momentum, if you can get that snowball, it does a lot of the time result in the win in that particular round, and for Order it certainly was the case there. Heading on to this next one, I think it's important for Mindfreak to actually be able to pick up the win here on Control if they're going to find a win in this series at all, Ben, because that has traditionally been their best map type. Yeah. Once we get onto things like Escort and Hybrid, etc., they don't tend to do so well. So this is really where they need to try and find something at the very least.
We're going to see Mirror Team comps coming out here as well. Once again, no real surprises. This time, however, Mindfreak are going to be the team to find their way onto the point first. Looking to find a pick, but for now, Mindfreak is the team who is taking the majority of the damage. Heals coming back now. Still keeping everyone alive, but once again, Lasky going to get found out. The first one down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. That isn't as bad as it looked before. See Pliss getting picked up there, though, from Jordation. Now can make it a little bit tougher with the baby D.Va. Whilst they do get the 75% on the capture, Order will turn it around, and Mindfreak will have to try again.
Yeah, it definitely was winnable for Mindfreak for quite a long part of that fight. You just have to look at the positioning there of Order, and you can recognize that it's so much better than what Mindfreak's was. Mindfreak, they were getting players low. They were in positions to potentially be able to take a player down, but unfortunately for Mindfreak, they didn't have anyone that could actually follow up on that. And so in saying that they're in a position to, I was actually maybe speaking wrong. They weren't in the correct positions. They just had the opportunities, and they weren't able to follow up on those opportunities because they were out of position. Whereas Order were pushing on forward. They were the ones playing proactively. Mindfreak playing reactively. And
Mindfreak going to try and push in this time. Grab going to come out from Order, along with the self-destruct going through this time. No one goes down. Goops with a well-timed trance. Down barrier coming out from Fractured as well. Everyone's still alive for both teams as they try and force their way onto the point. Earthshatter will come through. Kuwitz gets knocked down and picked up, as is Lasky. Again, the rest of the team will follow. You can see Mindfreak used a couple of support ults. Orders used quite a bit as well, but still, they're looking strong. Yeah,
not looking good for Mindfreak at this point. They have to use both of the support ultimates just to even touch the point. And Order able to hold on to both of theirs for the entire fight. They, in fact, didn't even use them at all. So, Order really feeling quite comfortable. They're not feeling under too much pressure at all by the looks of things. And Mindfreak, they've really only got, I guess, 2 more pushes here, depending on how this next one goes, how long it goes. But they're really running out of time, Ben, and this is looking like it's going to be a very, very convincing 2-0 in the first map for Order at this point.
Yeah, Mindfreak's going to need to find themselves a win sooner or later. Tran's going to come through to try and counter this self-destruct Graviton Surge. No one will go down. Earthshatter goes through as well. No one found out there by Lasky by the looks of things. It's going to be Jordation and Groups, both with the ultimates available. That's it for Mindfreak. Nothing else is coming up. Order, on the other hand, has a lot coming through in the meantime. Fractured found out there by Quads as well. Earthshatter goes through. Mindfreak should fall apart here, up to 95%. And this looks like it's going to be an Order 2-0 on Lijiang. Yeah, so only the one fight out of that last 40% because that fight lasted for so long. But Order, as you say, super convincing, able to get that 2-0. It didn't even look like for a moment they were going to lose any one of those fights. I really couldn't see a situation where I felt like Mindfreak had a considerable advantage that maybe they threw away or anything like that. It was just textbook from Order. I think for us, and we see it a little bit, we saw it yesterday as well, if you've got two teams that aren't necessarily evenly matched, you'd expect probably the better team to win the first fight. And in a map like Control, or in a map type like Control, often I feel like there's not enough time for the other team to get in enough ultimates to really find an advantage at any point. That you're always a little bit behind, aren't you? Yeah, definitely. If you lose the first fight, then you've lost the old advantage coming into the second fight, which kind of sort of snowballs through. Yeah, you're right, but it's not like Mindfreak didn't have ultimates, they didn't have good fights or potential good fights for them. I think the thing there was that Order just sort of counterplayed it so well. Every time you saw an ultimate come down from Mindfreak, there was a counteracting ultimate out from Order. Yeah. We're talking about Lasky hits a nice Earthshatter, then Quats hits an even better one. A grab comes down there from Mindfreak, but there's a Transcendence or a Sound Barrier available to counter that one out from Order. They always had the answer to what Mindfreak was asking of them. And so I really think that this is Order just playing it out textbook style. They're not really doing anything too fancy. They're just doing what they need to do. And Mindfreak not having the ability right now to be able to stand up against the powerhouse that is Order. Yeah, certainly at least not on Control. It's going to put Order up 1-0. Looking for another 2 maps to close this one out and lock themselves into a semi-final up against the winner of this afternoon's match. Heading into the next map, what do we think we're going to see here coming out? Mindfreak, as the loser of map 1, do get to pick map number 2. Well, Mindfreak have been playing a lot of Hollywood, but they have also been winning quite a bit on the Control maps, so it's kind of hard to tell what they're actually going to be choosing here. I don't know that they're necessarily too keen to go into Numbani, given that that seems to be Order's home ground. Yeah. 3 from 3 wins on that map throughout the season, so I think we're probably going to see Hollywood just to continue that trend. Is that a 5 picks on Hollywood and 5 played? It doesn't necessarily mean that they picked it. Yeah, unless... But they have lost 5 times on Hollywood after 5 plays. I still think they're going to pick it here, though, so there you go. Yeah. All right, well, that's it. That's all they played all season long. It's better the enemy you know than the enemy you don't, right? Well, that's it. They clearly have not been keen on playing Numbani at all. So, yeah, every time they've had a chance to pick, they have picked Hollywood and will continue in that fashion. Now, throughout the season... we've seen a lot of teams who, obviously, if you don't pick the map, you get to pick side. And we've seen a bit of playing around where teams have chosen to attack first and whatnot. Yesterday, that was not the case. The team who did not pick the map always chose defense. I'd be interested to see whether Order continue to play it safe, because I feel like that is the safer way to play.
Yeah, it is. I think Order might be one of those teams that actually does start on the attack a little bit more than others. I think it just comes down to a comfort thing or a personal choice between the players and maybe the coach as well, having input there for Order. End of the day, though, Ben, I really don't think it matters actually in this matchup. Either way, I think Order's going to come away with a pretty considerable victory. But there are, I guess, little things that maybe you can consider when you're deciding if you want to start on the attack or the defense. There's little nuances like, oh, do we have the ability then to invest into the final fight if we start off on the attack because we know exactly where we have to defend, or that kind of thing, where you otherwise might not ordinarily defend.
You've got more information, right, to work with.
So that's why some teams, I think, do tend to start on the attack at times, but we're going to see the standard fare where Order's going to decide to start on the defense, which I think is fair enough. It's well within the realms of possibility that they actually do full hold this based on what we saw there on that control map. They really didn't seem like they had much of a problem against Mindfreak at all. We're going to see the change up, of course, from Mindfreak back onto the standard GOATS composition, so nothing too crazy coming out from either side just yet. And I think, again, that's going to favor Order, where they have those individuals that have already proven themselves in this matchup to be quite a bit stronger than Mindfreak with this particular composition. So to see it being run again, obviously it's standard, it's meta, but I don't know that it necessarily favors Mindfreak.
Plus up on the high ground as well, taking quite a bit of damage onto that Diva mech. Kamsky's as well. Quat's the first one to go down as well. Cool Whips, you can see, was out the front, a 1-for-1 trade when it comes to Reinhardt's. We'll see who this favors. Mindfreak probably with a little bit of a faster spawn coming here onto the first point. We'll see how that plays out for them. Still alive for now, but Goops goes down. Fractured is low as well. Adam maybe going to get demeched there, but I don't think it's going to make all that much difference. A reasonable start for Mindfreak, but they're going to have to drop back.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great start for Mindfreak, really, but it was so quickly stolen back away by Order, getting the trade for the Reinhardt. Now they're going to be staggering up the Diva as well, so that's unfortunate for Mindfreak. But yeah, Mindfreak just getting a little bit overeager there. They said, oh, we've picked Quats, we've picked the Reinhardt, let's push, let's go.
Yeah.
What they needed to do was just slow down, heal up a little bit. They had that numbers advantage, play that war of attrition. They had plenty of time to work with, but unfortunately, they really just jumped the gun a little bit too much there. Order punishing them for it, and we're going to be back to square one. Goob's getting picked off there by Merit. Yeah. Nicely done. That's going to buy even just a little bit more time, another 15, 20 seconds. Every second counts here for Mindfreak because it's going to be so tough for them to push through this first point. But here we go again, their second attempt now. And a few ultimates available for them and for Order.
Yeah,
maybe something in it.
Ticking up sooner or later. Order probably a little bit ahead here, but we'll see who makes better use of the Graviton Surge. Throws grab for grab. No, not yet. Cool Whip still sitting onto theirs. There comes the second one out. Unto actually the first one to go down. Mindfreak going to be looking to follow this up. Bit of big Earth Shatter coming out from Quats will seal the deal. Unfortunately, Mindfreak, again, not going to be able to break through the defense.
Yeah, definitely not. It was a good grab, actually. I thought it was a pretty bad one, but in the end, catching Unter off in that position, able to pick him off. Merit forced to trance in a situation where it didn't really end up saving Unter either. There was, again, another good opportunity for Mindfreak, but then it's just a great Earth Shatter down from Quads. I have to assume Yuki had a hand in that. Something that Order's very, very good at that we've seen in the last few weeks is that Brigitte shield bash into the Reinhardt Earth Shatter combo. And it's worked out nicely for Order there.
Self-destruct coming over the top here, looking for some kills. Not going to find anyone. Lasky and Pliss both with ultimates available. Kamsky going to pop Rally. There it goes. Self-destruct on the offensive side. Goes through, clears everyone off the point, but will not really do any damage. 110 on the clock. Mindfreak definitely starting to run out of time here. Lasky's going to lose his shield, but he throws out a big Earth Shatter, potentially saved by Unter there with a really nicely timed sound barrier, and you can see Mindfreak once again, unfortunately, starting to fall away. Order looking very strong on defense.
Yeah, that's perfect stuff from Unter. Perfect positioning. I mean, when you look at where he was holding in that fight, just standing up on the high ground, there's really no one from Mindfreak that can actually contest him there. Sure, Diva can try and jump up there, but realistically, it's not so easy for a Diva to 1v1 a Lucio and get that kill. Yeah, you can't burst it down, so great positioning from Unter. Perfect timing on the sound barrier as well. Keeps everybody alive, even despite a pretty nice Earth Shatter coming down from Lasky. In the end, again, Order just showing their mechanical prowess and their decision-making prowess with great positioning there from Unter in particular. Again, 18 seconds here, Mindfreak, last legs.
Oh no, and that might be enough to seal the deal. Graviton Surge going to come through in addition to that Earth Shatter. You can see that Goobs has popped the trance to try and keep the team alive, but they are not even on the point. Someone's going to need to make a play. They're not going to get much of a chance. It's going to be Pliss there on the Diva to be the player to jump on through with the Mac. Self-destruct coming out from Pliss now. Still not going to find anyone there. Actually, it's Adam finding Lasky, and that will be that. Mindfreak unable to find even one tick here on the first objective on Hollywood. Now, Order, it's their turn to attack, and, well, they don't need to really do all that much.
Yeah, definitely. I'm being more and more impressed by this Order roster the more that I watch of them in the last few weeks. I think since that loss to Heist, they've really had a bit of a wake-up call there. They've really knuckled down, and they're looking like a super, super solid squad. I mean, at the start of this season, I said that Sydney Drop Bears was going to win the season, and I probably will still stand by that. But I think we're actually in a situation now where there may be the best possibility of a team challenging Sydney Drop Bears since, obviously, Season 1, where we kind of didn't even think that Sydney Drop Bears was going to win the season. But last season, it almost felt like a foregone conclusion for me that Sydney Drop Bears would win that season. Darksided was there as a bit of a roadblock, but it was always almost a foregone conclusion. But this season, I think this Order roster is actually looking really, really good. There's some great storylines for Order in terms of the revenge storylines for Jordation and for Quads. Also, both of those players wanting to get their third title under their belt. For Yuki, he's had 2 seasons in a row where he's been the bridesmaid, but never the bride. So maybe third time's the charm. So I think there's a lot mentally wise for Order to really want to get the better of Sydney Drop Bears this season. So I think they're throwing everything at it this season, and we're just seeing such solid gameplay out from Order so far today and so far in the final week of the season against Melbourne Mavericks that, I don't know, maybe Order has a chance here against Sydney Drop Bears. Bit early to call, I guess. They still have to get through this match. They still have to get through their semi-final if they do win this.
Assuming, and I will assume that Order does win this match, I'm going to be very interested to see how that semi plays off. I think that's where it's really going to come out. We're going to get a much better idea. Yeah.
Anyway, obviously a lot to think about for Order, a lot to think about for Mindfreak now as well. We've got a bit of a pause, but that's okay because it gives us time to think about this one for Mindfreak. Like, what do they need to do here on the defense? I mean, best case scenario, they can draw this, and remember, draws a little bit more impactful actually now in this first to 3 series as opposed to the best of 5.
They are. They essentially wipe it from the board. You don't have to worry about, if we get a draw here, we still lose because there's not enough maps for us to catch up to the score that our opponent already has. So definitely a bigger deal, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly. So if Mindfreak are going to have that on their mind, in a sense, they'll need to really full hold this first point. Definitely a difficult ask. I think we're going to need to see much the same of what Order did on the defense there, being, again, proactive, being very, very good positioning out from your supports, making sure you get those big support ultimates down at the perfect time. I think Lasky's been fairly impressive on the Reinhardt. He's been getting good Earth Shatters, but there hasn't been the ability to follow it up from Mindfreak so far. So we need to see a little bit more, I think, from Mindfreak here. They really need to lift now. And if they don't, then they're going to be down 2-0. And I think at that point, we can almost start to think this series is over.
Yeah, it certainly would indicate as such. Anto trying to get in behind, potentially there to get a bit of boop action on. Not the case for now. High ground going to be taken by Order here. A little bit tougher now. They're going to boop fractured off the top. Looking for that first kill. Lasky quite low, gets healed back up. The barriers you can hear will go down there. No shield available for Lasky. The first one to be found out once again. Quats traded back. Cool Whips is low. The rest of Order looking very strong right now. They're just trying to find maybe one more pick to put themselves in a little bit of a better position here. They're taking a lot of time. Still not on the point. Only looking for 1/3. Jordation has the Graviton Surge available. Adam has the Self-Destruct available.
This is sneaky.
Yeah, going to throw it up over the top. Sit that big explosive mech right in the middle of it. Finds 2 of the tanks. And that could be it, Jordan.
I think it might be, Ben. There's not going to be enough to hold on here for Mindfreak. They've thrown absolutely everything out at the sound barrier. They've had the Transcendence as well, and now it really is just going to be Order able to clean everything up. Merrick still has Trans if necessary, but it's absolutely not necessary at this point. As you can see, Order able to cleanly finish things off here on Hollywood. And that is going to be that. The 2-0 up for Order now as well. 1 map away from making it through to finals.
Yeah, look, I think there's, to be fair, not really that much that we can break down there. It really is just a matter of a team who is a bit better than their opponents coming out and showing us and playing in form as well. It would be one thing if perhaps Order came in today and they weren't on form. Maybe, again, they'd taken a bit of a break over the Christmas period or something like that. But clearly not the case. All the decision-making there they're doing today looks very much on point.
Yeah, definitely. You can see the difference, I think, again, between Mindfreak and between Order. When Order's on the attack there, they lose quads. They also pick up the Reinhardt kill onto Lasky, but they are able to slow things down. They slow the fight, and that's exactly what they need to do because they know that their Reinhardt is going to get back just a little bit quicker. That allows Jordan a bit of time to get a sneaky position there on the Xayah, which he does like to do quite a lot. We see him using that jump, not that particular jump, but the ability to get the super jump with the Xayah quite often to find some interesting positions and find a good angle for that grab, which maybe would be a little bit more unexpected for Mindfreak. So just being able to slow things down. Order's playing at their own pace, and Mindfreak, it always feels like they are having to react, where Order is always the one making the plays. They're the ones that are dictating how this game is playing out, and Mindfreak trying to find those answers, but they're just never able to.
Yeah, that's it, right? It's tough. You can try and play around it. You can try and make good decisions. But if at the end of the day, if maybe mechanically your opponent's a little bit stronger, they've just always got a bit of an edge over you as well. So that's probably what we are seeing here. And that's going to put Order 2-0 up in this first to 3 series. Mindfreak now with a lot of work to do. They either need to draw or win every map from here on out to keep themselves in this game. Yeah,
definitely a tough ask. You've got to put into context the fact that Mindfreak, none of these players had ever played in Contenders up to this season. They've already made it to playoffs, so it's been a fantastic run for Mindfreak thus far. But you're looking at the experience and the firepower on Order, and you're thinking, there's almost no chance that Mindfreak should win this series, and that is exactly what we're seeing. So it's not an altogether unexpected result. Mindfreak still has done well this season, but yeah, this is where Order's really just showing their firepower, showing their class.
Well, that's halftime here in this first series. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll head across to Assault.